Hey man, let me ask you something. How many times have you completely missed the signs that a woman was into you? How many times did you find out weeks, months, even years later that she had a thing for you and you had no clue? Listen, this happens to most guys more than they'd like to admit. Because here's the reality. Women don't just walk up and tell you they're interested. They're not going to make it that easy, especially when they're crushing hard. See, when a woman really likes you, when she's got that deep interest that goes beyond surface level attraction, she becomes more guarded, not less. She's got more to lose, so she plays it safer. But here's what most men don't understand. The stronger her feelings, the more she'll try to hide them. And that creates these subtle patterns, these behaviors that she probably doesn't even realize she's doing. Today we're breaking down the 5 undeniable signs that prove she's secretly crushing on you hard, but she'd never admit it. And listen, this isn't about those obvious signs that every dating coach talks about. This goes deeper. This is about the psychology behind why women hide their true feelings and how to spot the signs they can't control. So pay attention, because once you see these, you'll never miss them again. Let's start with something that'll blow your mind. When a woman is crushing on you, she becomes a detective. She remembers details about your life that you barely remember telling her. Your favorite coffee order, the name of your childhood dog, that story you told about your college roommate 3 weeks ago. She files it all away. But here's where it gets interesting. She'll bring these things up in ways that seem casual, almost accidental. Oh, I was just thinking about that thing you said about your brother. Or, I saw this and it reminded me of that story you told me. She's testing to see if you notice, if you pick up on the fact that she's been paying attention. Because here's the thing, guys. When someone doesn't care about you, they forget what you tell them. But when they're crushing, they hang on every word. And women? They know this about themselves. So they try to play it cool. They'll act like they just happened to remember, when really they've been thinking about that conversation for days. You ever had a woman bring up something you mentioned weeks ago, and when you look surprised, she just shrugs it off like it's no big deal? That's not coincidence. That's investment. Emotional investment. And she's hoping you'll see it without her having to spell it out for you. Now listen, most guys think if a woman likes you, she'll be comfortable around you. But that's not always true, especially when she's crushing hard. When her feelings run deep, she actually becomes more nervous. Not less. And it shows up in specific ways. She's fine when you're in a group, totally relaxed, laughing, joking around. But the second you two are alone, even for a minute, her energy shifts. Maybe she starts fidgeting with her hair. Maybe she gets quieter. Maybe she suddenly finds her phone fascinating. Here's what's happening in her mind. When other people are around, she can hide behind the group dynamic. She can play it off as just being friendly. But when it's just you two, the stakes feel higher. Every word, every glance, every moment of silence feels loaded with possibility. And that scares her, because she doesn't want to give herself away. You might think she doesn't like you because she seems less comfortable one-on-one, but it's actually the opposite. The reason she's nervous is because being alone with you feels too real, too intimate. And when you're crushing on someone, that intensity can be overwhelming. So if you notice she's more guarded or nervous when it's just you two, don't take it as disinterest. Take it as a sign that being around you affects her more than she wants to admit. This one's huge, and most guys completely miss it. When a woman is crushing on you, she wants physical contact, but she can't just reach out and touch you. That would be too obvious, too forward. So she creates these moments that seem natural, spontaneous, accidental. Maybe she touches your arm when she's laughing at your joke. Maybe she brushes against you when she's walking past. Maybe she finds reasons to high-five you or playfully push you when you're teasing each other. The key word here is frequency. If it happens once, fine, coincidence. But if you start noticing a pattern, if she's finding multiple excuses to make physical contact, she's doing it on purpose. And here's the psychological reason why. Touch releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone. She knows this instinctively. She craves that connection, that little rush she gets from physical contact with you. But she can't be obvious about it, so she makes it seem casual, accidental, innocent. Pay attention to this, because women who aren't interested, they avoid unnecessary physical contact. They keep their distance. But a woman who's crushing, she'll find ways to close that gap, to create those moments of connection, even if she pretends it just happened naturally. Here's one that'll make you think back to every conversation you've ever had with her. She'll bring up your dating life, but she does it in this specific way that seems casual, almost disinterested. Maybe she asks, "Are you seeing anyone these days?" Or mentions hearing about some girl you were spotted with. Or she'll make some comment about how you must have women lining up. But here's what she's really doing. She's gathering intelligence. She needs to know where she stands, what her competition looks like, whether you're available. But she can't ask directly, because that would reveal her hand. So she asks in ways that seem like casual conversation, friendly curiosity, and watch her reaction when you answer. If you say you're single, notice if she seems a little too interested in why. If you mention dating someone, watch how quickly she changes the subject. Or how she tries to find flaws in this mystery woman. She might say things like, "Oh, that's nice for you," or "Really?" What's she like? In a tone that seems supportive, but there's something underneath that tone, something that doesn't quite match the words. Because she's trying to seem happy for you, while internally she's either celebrating that you're single or trying to figure out how to compete with whoever you're dating. The giveaway is in the follow-up questions. If she's crushing, she won't just accept your answer and move on. She'll dig a little deeper, trying to understand your situation better. This is the most subtle sign, and the one that proves she's paying closer attention to you than anyone else in the room. Mirroring is something we do unconsciously with people we're attracted to. We match their body language, their speaking pace, their energy levels. But when a woman is crushing and trying to hide it, she'll only do this when she thinks you won't notice. If you lean back in your chair, she'll lean back too. But a few seconds later, if you cross your arms, she'll find a reason to cross hers. If you lower your voice, she'll match that tone, but she'll make it seem natural, unconscious. And here's the thing. She probably doesn't even realize she's doing this. It's happening at a subconscious level. Because when we're attracted to someone, we naturally want to be in sync with them. We want that connection, that harmony. But because she's trying to keep her feelings hidden, she'll only let this natural mirroring happen when she thinks you're not paying attention. Maybe you're looking at your phone or talking to someone else. That's when she'll unconsciously copy your posture, your gestures, your energy. And the reason this is such a strong sign is because mirroring requires focus, attention, investment. You don't mirror people you don't care about. You only sync with people who matter to you, people you're tuned into on a deeper level. Now here's what most guys get wrong when they start noticing these signs. They think they need to call her out on it. They think they should confront her about her feelings, but that's the worst thing you can do. See, the whole reason she's hiding her feelings is because she's protecting herself from potential rejection or embarrassment. If you put her on the spot, if you force her to admit something she's not ready to admit, you'll probably push her away instead. Here's what you should do. Create safe opportunities for her to reveal her feelings naturally. If you notice she's crushing, start giving her more attention, but do it gradually. If she remembers things about you, acknowledge it. Thank her for listening. If she gets nervous around you one-on-one, don't point it out. Just be patient. Give her time to get comfortable. If she finds excuses to touch you, don't pull away. Let those moments happen naturally. If she asks about your dating life, be honest, but don't overshare. Let her curiosity guide the conversation. And if you catch her mirroring you, don't mention it. Just appreciate that she's that tuned into you. But here's the most important thing you need to understand about all of this. Women who are crushing hard, who are trying to hide their feelings, they're in a constant state of internal conflict. Part of them wants you to notice, wants you to pick up on the signs and make a move. But another part of them is terrified of being vulnerable, of putting themselves out there and getting hurt. So they send mixed signals. They give you just enough to keep hope alive, but not enough to guarantee anything. And this creates confusion for both of you. She's confused because she doesn't know how to handle these intense feelings, and you're confused because you're getting signals. but they're not clear enough to act on with confidence. So let me tell you what separates the guys who figure this out from the ones who don't. It's not about being the most attractive guy in the room. It's not about having perfect game. It's about paying attention, being present, being aware of the subtle dynamics that most men completely miss. When you start noticing these patterns, when you become fluent in this unspoken language, everything changes. You stop missing opportunities. You stop wondering if she likes you, because you can read the signs. And here's the beautiful thing about understanding this. Once you know what to look for, you'll see it everywhere. You'll start noticing which women are interested, which ones are just being friendly, and which ones are crushing but trying to hide it. Now I want you to think back to your recent interactions with women. How many of these signs have you been missing? How many times has a woman been dropping hints that you completely overlooked because you were looking for the obvious signs instead of the subtle ones? Most guys, they wait for women to make the first move. They wait for clear, undeniable signals. But the reality is, the women who are most worth your time, the ones who are genuinely interested in you as a person, they're often the ones who are most careful about revealing their feelings. And here's something else you need to understand about women who crush hard. They don't just like your looks or your status, they like you as a person. They've been paying attention to your character, your personality, your values. And when a woman likes you for who you really are, she has more to lose if things don't work out. That's why she's more guarded. That's why the signs are more subtle. Because her feelings run deeper than just surface attraction. So what should you do with this information? First, start paying attention. Really paying attention to the women in your life. Notice who remembers the little things you say, who gets nervous when you're alone together, who finds excuses to touch you, who asks about your dating life, who mirrors your energy. These behaviors aren't random. They're not coincidental. They're signs of genuine interest, of someone who's been thinking about you more than you realize. Second, don't wait for permission. Don't wait for her to make it completely obvious. Because if she's crushing hard, she probably never will. You need to create opportunities for connection, opportunities for her to feel safe opening up to you. And this doesn't mean being aggressive or pushy. It means being present, being engaged, being the kind of man who notices the subtle things, who appreciates the attention she's giving you, even when she's trying to hide it. Third, understand that timing matters. If she's giving you these signs but you don't respond, if you don't acknowledge them or reciprocate in some way, she'll eventually give up. She'll assume you're not interested, and she'll start protecting herself by pulling back. So when you notice these patterns, don't just file them away for later. Do something about it. Start a conversation. Find an excuse to spend time alone with her. Show her that you value her attention, that you notice the effort she's putting in. But here's the thing you need to be honest with yourself about. Do you actually want to pursue this? Or are you just enjoying the attention? Because if you're not genuinely interested, if you're not ready to potentially take things to the next level, then don't lead her on. Don't encourage feelings that you can't reciprocate, because a woman who's crushing on you, who's investing emotional energy in you, she deserves honesty. She deserves to know where she stands. And if you are interested, if you do want to explore where things could go, then you need to be willing to be vulnerable too. You can't expect her to open up while you stay completely guarded. If she's taking emotional risks by showing interest, even subtly, then you need to be willing to take some risks too. Maybe that means being more direct about your own feelings. Maybe that means creating situations where you can connect on a deeper level. Maybe that means being the one who takes the first real step towards something more. Now let's talk about what happens when you start recognizing these signs. When you become aware of this subtle language of attraction, everything shifts. You stop second-guessing yourself. You stop wondering if that touch was accidental or if she really remembered that thing you said 3 weeks ago. You start seeing the patterns. And once you see them, you can't unsee them. And that gives you power. Not power over her, but power over your own romantic life. Power to recognize opportunity when it presents itself. But with that power comes responsibility. The the responsibility to handle these situations with maturity and respect. Because when someone is crushing on you, when they're investing emotional energy in you, they're making themselves vulnerable, and vulnerability should always be handled with care. Whether you're interested or not, whether you want to pursue something or not, you owe it to them and to yourself to be honest and direct. Here's what I've learned after years of studying human behavior and attraction. The most meaningful connections happen when both people are willing to be real, when they stop playing games and start acknowledging what's actually happening between them. But getting to that point requires someone to go first. Someone has to be willing to address the elephant in the room, to acknowledge the chemistry, the interest, the possibility. And here's the reality. In most cases, that someone needs to be you, because she's already putting herself out there. She's already showing interest in the only way she feels safe doing it, through these subtle signs, through this careful dance of revealing just enough to test the waters, but not so much that she risks complete rejection. So if you're picking up on these signs, if you're noticing these patterns, the ball is in your court. Now some of you might be thinking, but what if I'm wrong? What if I'm reading too much into things? What if these signs don't actually mean what I think they mean? And listen, that's a valid concern. Misreading signals can lead to awkward situations, embarrassing moments, damaged friendships. But here's the thing. The alternative is worse. The alternative is missing out on genuine connections with women who are genuinely interested in you. So how do you minimize the risk? How do you act on these signs without putting yourself or her in an uncomfortable position? The answer is escalation. Gradual, intentional escalation. If you think she's interested, start by giving her more attention. See how she responds. If she responds positively, take another small step. Maybe suggest hanging out one-on-one. Maybe be more direct in your conversations. Maybe acknowledge some of the things she's been doing. The key is to match her energy, to reciprocate at the same level she's putting out. If she's being subtle, be subtle but responsive. If she's being more obvious, be more obvious. If she pulls back, respect that boundary. But if she leans in, lean in too. This isn't about playing games. It's about reading the situation and responding appropriately. And here's something most guys don't realize. Women want you to notice these signs. They want you to pick up on their interest. Because if you notice, it means you're paying attention. It means you care enough to see the effort they're putting in. And that in itself is attractive. There's nothing more frustrating for a woman than dropping hints that go completely unnoticed, than investing emotional energy in someone who seems completely oblivious. So when you start recognizing these patterns, when you become fluent in this language, you're not just improving your dating life. You're becoming the kind of man who pays attention, who notices the subtle things, who values the interest that women show you, and that makes you more attractive across the board. Now let me be clear about something. Understanding these signs doesn't guarantee anything. It doesn't mean every woman who shows these behaviors wants to date you or sleep with you. What it means is that she's interested enough to be paying special attention to you, and interest is the first step toward everything else. But interest alone isn't enough. There needs to be compatibility, there needs to be mutual attraction, there needs to be timing and circumstances that allow something to develop. So don't take these signs as a guarantee, take them as an invitation to explore the possibility, to see if there's something worth pursuing, to find out if the interest goes both ways. And remember, just because someone is interested doesn't mean you have to be interested back. You have the right to be selective, to choose who you invest your time and energy in. But what you don't have the right to do is ignore genuine interest or take it for granted. Because when someone is crushing on you, when they're showing you these signs, they're giving you something valuable. Their attention, their emotional investment, their hope. And that deserves to be acknowledged, even if you can't reciprocate it. So here's my challenge for you. Over the next week, start paying attention. Really paying attention to the women in your life. Notice who's showing these signs, who's investing extra attention in you, who's creating opportunities for connection. And then, do something about it. Not something dramatic or over the top, just something that acknowledges what's happening. Maybe it's a genuine compliment. Maybe it's suggesting you hang out one-on-one. Maybe it's just being more present in your conversations with her. Whatever it is, make sure it's authentic. Make sure it comes from a place of genuine appreciation for the interest she's showing you. Because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. Connection. Genuine human connection between two people who see something in each other worth exploring. And the first step toward that connection is recognizing when it's being offered to you, even when it's being offered quietly, subtly, in ways that require you to pay attention, to notice, to care enough to see what's really happening. So pay attention, my guy. Because the signs are there, you just need to know how to read them. And once you do, once you become fluent in this language, everything changes. You stop missing opportunities, you stop wondering if she likes you, and you start living with the confidence that comes from truly understanding the game. Thanks for watching, and remember, the best connections happen when both people are brave enough to acknowledge what they see in each other. So be brave, be present, and don't let another opportunity slip by because you weren't paying close enough attention.